I'm Georgette Pierre, and you are watching Black and Nuanced Podcast in HD, a visual extension of my podcast of the same name, where we seek to dispel the ideas that all Black people are monolithic. I thought your story was actually interesting too, because you worked at the U.S. Department of Energy. So you started there, and then you went into DJing. But for those that don't know your story, what was that journey like for you, even just kind of getting out of a space where you didn't want to be?
Well, Georgia, that was a tricky thing for me. I think it took me a minute to figure out creatively what I wanted to do personally. I think that I had always leaned into creative things as my part-times, as my hustles, as my after work thing, as my whatever. But I had never been empowered or felt like I could ever do any of those things full time or like they would sustain me. So I was definitely part of that group of people who was bred to like chase something that felt stable versus like something that maybe fulfilled you, made you happy, whatever the case may have been. So I started working for the Department of Energy when I was like 19, 20. And I was, I started as an administrative assistant, and thank God for some people who really were my mentors in that space. I ended up really kind of hustling my way through that department as well, and left as an environmental analyst, working for the secretary before I left in the secretary's office. Really more immediately to the deputy secretary. She was directly under him. But and the majority of my time there was under Obama's administration. But when that administration changed, it was abrupt.
Yeah.
It was not abrupt. It was abrasive. The changeover was abrasive. And people who had worked in government and in my agency, we're talking about 20 years, 30 years, they've seen many administrations change hand, whether it was a Republican administration, Democratic administration. They said they had never seen anything feel so aggressive. Of how they were just undoing work that we had spent the last 8 years building, and all of our environmental efforts becoming a wash, and just really dismantling programs and people's like life's work in a matter of like a year,
So that was real life, because everyone kept saying like he felt like 45 just kept wanting to undo everything that had Obama's name on it, essentially.
It was real. It was very real. And I think for people who don't work in government, I think everyone in this country felt it. But for the people whose literal work is in government and it's every day, it really felt it was hitting us in another way. And at the time I was finishing my degree, I was going to school part-time for energy sustainability policy. So I felt strongly about the work we were doing, even though, if I'm going to be frank and honest, I felt like the work we were doing was important, and that was valuable to me. And that's why I worked so hard in this space, but it was never something that I was like super personally passionate about.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like multiple things that happened in like a span of a year, between like my agency getting flipped upside down and the work that I had been, really center focused on for so many years up until the point that I left, was getting washed and defunded and dismantled and erased, essentially. And then I had my relationship had broken down at the time, and that was like really traumatic. And then I had a family event take place that was also like really traumatic. So after like those three things, I kind of was like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck all of this.
Yep.
I done survived all of this on top of many other things I've been through in my life that were even harder. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna waste no more time doing stuff that does not fulfill me. So I'm gonna holler at y'all. And I took like the next 6 to 9 months, I think, just devising a plan of how I was gonna make my break, saved a whole bunch of money. And for my like nest egg, in case something didn't come together quick enough, so that I could at least like pay my rent. And I just geared myself up to quit at a specific date and time, and I stuck to that. And then things just really started to fall into place, like more than I could have ever, planned it to, from the day that I left up until, this pandemic.
Right.